Hey minions, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and on this episode of Action Awareness, I want to talk about Leader of the Pack of the Werewolves. Leader of the Pack is one of my favorite actions in the game, but it's not my favorite werewolf action, which belongs to marking territory, but I've already covered that because it's probably my favorite action in the game, so I've chosen this for the werewolf video. Leader of the Pack is an action with the talent that lets you play an extra action as long as the minion has the highest power. And there's a subtlety here that I absolutely love, and not just because it often causes a mini argument. Instead, it seems counterintuitive because players do not always read what they think they read. Leader of the Pack can be played on any minion. It does not have to be played on yours. And there are plenty of reasons to play it on someone else's minion, which I'll talk about today. Superlatives can be hard to word. The official wording is that if this minion has the highest power here, you may play an extra action. But this also includes ties, because the highest power might be 5, and I'm one of the minions who has it. Unlike marking territory, which explicitly requires you to be beating all other players, Leader of the Pack is tie friendly, and that is key. This is also a key action because the werewolf actions require incredible timing and planning, and that is probably why so many players dislike them. Take an action like Frenzy, which wants your minions to be at least power 4. The Howlers can easily reach that level, but you only have one turn to do it. But you also have Let the Dog Out, which is for clearing out a base. One of my favorite plays is to have marking territory trip, then use Let the Dog Out to destroy the minions to get the base by yourself. But what if there are too many minions to destroy? What if you need the extra power from Frenzy, or you need 2 Chew Toys? That's why Leader of the Pack is so powerful that it becomes an engine, preferably one that lingers on another base. I get really upset when I lose this action because an extra action a turn is great. But this is not simply play an extra action. There are many ways to get extra actions. This one comes with a prerequisite. The minion has to have the highest power. Sometimes this is achieved by playing it on your highest minion and keeping it in the lead. But you can also play it on someone else's highest minion. Both are fascinating outcomes because they tie into my belief that the werewolves are the most subtle area control faction in the game. Think about it. If I play my action on your minion with the most power, you have 3 choices, assuming you cannot disenchant it. You can leave it and let me get an extra action every turn. Second, you can rush breaking the base, or you can play a bigger minion to make it so that it is no longer the highest minion. Obviously, the first is awesome, as you can get extra actions for an extended length, but the other 2 provide a ton of value. This card baits you into committing hard on a base. If I play it on one of your 4s, it can mean forcing you to play your 5 and greatly overspend on a base. Of course, this comes with considerable risk as well. As the controller, you need to know how easy it is to boost other minions, and this becomes a lot harder in multiplayer because you are competing against multiple players. But if you know what an opponent can do, and you can trap them with Leader of the Pack, it may be well worth it. This is a great play on a 4-3-2 style base, where second place is almost just as good, and the opposing player has real incentive to overcommit on that style base because it means disrupting your engine. Of course, the same magnet style play also works when you play it on yourself. You are baiting someone to play their best minions to overtake you, which can play right into your trap. Chew Toys can take out the powerful minions to maintain your lead as long as you have a means of increasing power. I must admit, pre-Titan, I used to play Leader of the Pack on someone else's minion most of the time, especially in 2-player. But with the Great Wolf Spirit able to give any of your minions +2, and with the Teenage Wolf also getting double tapped, it's become really easy to maintain the lead yourself. So the style of play might be heavily influenced on the presence of the Titan, but the same effect occurs. Players need to either concede the extra action or actively try to stop it, and the only way to do that is to add more power, which you can easily work to your advantage. There are factions that want to prevent you from playing on a base. The werewolves bait you into doing so, and Leader of the Pack is such a simple example of that. When you combine it with Moontouched, which has the same condition for a different effect, it becomes even more potent of a draw. If you don't think a draw 2 cards, play 2 extra actions engine isn't going to attract attention, I don't know what will. Obviously, extra actions are great, So the only other question is how to best maintain that engine. The Great Wolf Spirit does a lot of the heavy lifting, but I must admit that I love this as a cyberback play. If Leader of the Pack is the first action he retrieves from the discard pile, particularly with the Great Wolf Spirit, cyberback can end up with 3 actions on the first turn, making the inevitable juiced up Flying Monkey combo incredibly powerful. I've already covered this play before, but a 6-action cyberback who can wreck 2 bases is sped up incredibly because he could accomplish this in 2 turns, winning bases so quickly that losing Leader of the Pack is acceptable, especially since it came from the discard pile and won you another base already. Leader of the Pack is tailor-made to be used in conjunction with the Northern Mover, especially with the Great Wolf Spirit. Northern Mover can impact both sides of the equation. It can either increase the power of that minion, which is a talent perfect for the Great Wolf Spirit, or it can move it to another base where it would have the most power. And given how many power increasing actions this faction has, those extra actions can have an extremely quick impact. Making the Leader of the Pack minion have Bring 'em In solves both problems at the same time, as the move not only repositions the minion for a temporary lead, but increases the power to help ensure it. This allows you to seed marking territory in advance, and then come back to it eventually, and even move the minion off the marking territory base after it trips, using the same extra actions to overtake opponents, which the Mounties already do well. Because the biggest threat to Leader of the Pack is a disenchant, this is a play where the Steam Queen actually makes a lot of sense. The Steampunks love the extra actions because they can get instant access to whatever action they want. Scrapdiving can retrieve it, and Leader of the Pack can play it. And with Rotary Slug Thrower, and the fact that the Steampunks themselves make the werewolves mobile, this is an easy lead to maintain. Leader of the Pack gives new context to talents that increase power, where typically we're only used to break bases. Here, there is actually a reason to give a minion temporary power, as it can mean extra actions during mid-game turns. This can mean killing minions faster than another player can put them out. If Leader 2 double taps can increase a minion's power by 4, good luck overtaking that. But the opposite is also true, in that negative power becomes incredibly useful. Suddenly Mr. Grumpers has a new use case, especially since the power reduction can occur on any base. Since the werewolves prefer power on their turn anyway, a temporary power reduction for opponents can be really meaningful while giving you more flexibility for your mid-game minions, something that the Howlers aren't and the Kitty Cats often fail to provide. One of the best aspects of Leader of the Pack is that it provides immediate value because it can be used that turn, and yet the immediate value is non-trivial. If I play Leader of the Pack and then play an extra action, and then the action gets disenchanted, I would have accomplished much of the same effect if I just played the second action first. But with the Great Wolf Spirit, Leader of the Pack is potentially a time loop the turn it is played, so even if it only lasts one turn, that's an incredible floor for the action with the Titan, and the ceiling is insanely high. A common complaint about the Great Wolf Spirit is that the werewolves don't have enough talents for this to make sense, a statement I strongly disagree with because 2 free actions per turn is incredible. This makes the werewolves have easier access to actions than the wizards while being less power starved. Out of all the werewolf cards, this one was by far the most impacted by the Great Wolf Spirit, and an already great card just got even better. It has both practical and intangible benefits, the exact type of card I'm looking for, and this is why it's one of my favorite cards in the game. But most of you are werewolf haters, so what do you think of Leader of the Pack? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.